Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for August 12th through 15th, 2022. Well, we're still buzzing from that Aquarius full moon yesterday. Very powerful energies with a grand fixed cross in the sky. The grand fixed cross is between the nodes of the moon and Uranus with the north node. The north node is about moving. How are we going to get to where we're going? It's the direction and mechanism of moving forward. South node, what's holding us back from the past? So we've got this nodal axis right there with Uranus and Uranus and Taurus, the ruler of Aquarius, right there with the north node. So Uranus is about higher frequency vibrations, and in Taurus, it's about embodying these energies. So Uranus and the north node together is awakening a new timeline and Mars passed over this a couple weeks ago, just kind of jolting us into our more appropriate place and reality. Uranus is radical change, also often lightning fast, unexpected changes. It's really a time to go with the flow right now, because what if the universe is positioning you, just like this fixed cross, exactly where you need to be? And I'm guessing for most of us, it's not where you thought or what you thought. So there's a lot to sort out here as we try to receive this timeline alignment and come into our potential, because the Taurus awakening has to do with coming into our gifts and skills, our treasures, our internal treasures that we didn't know we had. And Uranus is awakening us. But then, do we deserve it? Can we embody it? Can we step into our power? And this is everything that astrology is speaking to. So we've got that nodal axis with Uranus, and then in square to the sun and the moon, the sun in Leo, the moon in Aquarius. And not too far from Saturn in Aquarius. Now, this fixed cross, the fixed energy, the fixed signs are about establishing and anchoring a new reality. On the other hand, the fixed energies can feel really stuck. And so we're looking at where we've been stuck and those patterns that have kept us stuck and kept us in those old loops and unable to step into the true potential of what's available to us in these dynamic times. Often, lately, supernova souls seem to be feeling like you found the train station. You were kind of quarantined and away and exiled, and yet where do you go from here? And what really matters, and what is it you're really trying to do? And so they're very difficult to, because we know we need to move from our stuck places, but it's very difficult to navigate in these times. And it seems this timeline alignment with Uranus involved, it's that radical adjustment. And that seems to be from where you were and where you're going, some zigs and some zags, right? Some leaps, some bounds, some one step forward, two steps back, up, down, around, about. But movement is, as long as you're just moving, just keep being present and moving in these energies. And everything that's been keeping you stagnant is revealing itself. So some really intense astrology in this fixed square, because this weekend we'll feel the culmination. This full moon energy is going to continue, because it's not till this weekend that the sun comes into its exact opposition with Saturn, and that at 22 degrees, and it's kind of a ringing of the bell of a marker, a timeline marker. And the sun is, who do we think we are? And in Leo, for supernova souls, it's bringing up this feeling of a desire to express what you have inside of yourself and wanting to find the confidence and the direction to do that and the support. And up opposite of Saturn in Aquarius. Now, Saturn is the laws and rules of our reality. It's in our birth chart, it's our true work, our dharma, our true path. And so we're looking at the true path of humanity. And the true path of humanity in Aquarius is about the Aquarian age and the Enlightenment, and about what we know is possible in the world that we can create based on these incredible gifts and skills that we have inside of ourselves. And Saturn also represents the limitations and restrictions that keep us from our true path. And so this energy is like who we are, who we've been, facing down with our true path, but also what's kept us from that path and what comes up. A lot of times Aquarius in the chart, the birth chart of supernova souls, speaks directly to experiences in Atlantean time and with higher technologies. And so we are facing the energy of, it's powerful with the Taurus Scorpio, because it's like, yeah, you've got this, you are a superstar, you've got this experience, but, you know, do you deserve it? And can you handle it? And so this brings me to this other opposition that's been so powerful. Venus has been at the end degrees of Cancer, so emotional the last few days with this full moon, on grief over where just this feeling of being off track, so far off track in this evolution. And you know how sometimes you find yourself in a place where you just, it's like, oh my gosh, we're never going to get anywhere, you know? And this is how Venus has been feeling, disempowered, all alone, abandoned, just how supernova souls have felt through this evolution. And that's because you have so much to bring here. And so it's really important to understand where this grief comes from on a deep esoteric level around this whole evolution. And also in that is a validation of who you are and what you have to offer inside of you. We are demonstrating what's possible for all of humanity in the evolution of humankind. We have this, we've already experienced supernova souls, higher states of consciousness, spiritual ascension, light body, and we're just remembering and coming back into this co-creator status in our consciousness, full consciousness. So this is what this timeline is about. And in Taurus and Uranus, it's this, we're finally understanding what this Uranus and Taurus era is about. And it is speaking to this embodiment of these higher frequencies. And this is how we demonstrate. Now, say that you as a superstar supernova soul, just even a little bit coming into your power energetically, feeling your own source, feeling connected, feeling, you know, the benefit of all the work you've done, and you walk into a room of sleeping people. A glimpse of one person, you know, like you have the power to break the narrative and the programming for anyone around you who has eyes to see and ears to hear. You know, it's like you can't, once you see an alternate possibility, you can't unsee it. This is why they want us so blocked and so separated and so traumatized and, you know, ugh. And so you have to understand the power of this embodiment. And this is where we need to shift our gears of like, what am I doing and how do I move forward? And what is it I want to create? And everything I thought isn't working. And I've worked so hard and I have nothing to show for it. It's like, you have so much to show for it and nobody can take it from you. And it's only getting stronger, your soul wealth. Because there's a message around this, that what you need to do and your path forward, that we've all been grasping for some sort of clarity. Is this embodiment. So it's not a thing to do or accomplish. I mean, it is, but not in the 3D way that we know. And it's just being brave enough to be this living, breathing example, taking care of yourself enough to show wherever you go, break the code, you know, of the algorithm of the lower matrix and be an argument. And this is interesting because this is how supernova souls have felt throughout this earth evolution, like incarnating here and then being persecuted, and it's like going through all you've gone through as a soul to squeeze yourself into this lower dimensional frequency and bring the love and the healing and the service to humanity. And then they're like, we don't want you. What are you doing here, witch? So that is, it brings us back to that grief energy we've been feeling with Venus at the end degrees of Cancer, alone and abandoned. And so, of course, it's difficult to, maybe that's part of our bringing forward our gifts is like, can they be received? Will we be received? Because we haven't been received. But it's not about that anymore, because when you are in this place of light body and moving into these higher frequency vibrations, it's like you're your own universe. And the message today is like kind of coming through to understand this grand fixed cross and all these dynamics, is that we've come across this concept that the earth is ascending and we're going with her. We've got this message again and again in our activations and meditations and soul group sessions. And so we need to be connected with her because she's leading the way on spiritual ascension, and we're both embodying these higher frequency vibrations and literally changing our physical form into light and our physical earth into light. Now this Uranus and Taurus activation, this revelation of what this means is that literally as we embody these higher frequency vibrations, we are the body of Gaia. We are Gaia in our energy field. We're moving with her, not holding hands in the way we were shown. This is a different experience, and our energetic fields are activating in ways we don't understand. It's like, this is what we're on the fast track to crash course. There's no user manual for this electromagnetic field. And yet we've got to figure it out because it's happening and activating within us. And so as you activate, you'll go through these different periods of time of feeling uncomfortable and strange. And it's really helpful to understand what's happening and what is that something's activating, like a higher technological device, or you could look at it like a vehicle and you don't have the owner's manual. You have no idea how this mechanism works. And yet some part of you knows how to drive it. So very interesting times and everything that this is about. So what does it mean to be the body of Gaia, to be the body of this new world? And to be the vortex to new earth by living and breathing unapologetically in the energy of this truth, of this vision, these Gaia codes of what we're here to be a part of. And just go ahead and stepping into our role, Beautiful energy in the activation. You can go ahead and catch the replay of the Aquarius Full Moon activation. And there was a really cool energy of learning to receive from the mother and be with the mother and receive the bounty and the beauty of this world in the way that the plants and animals can receive, and learning from them. So very powerful journey there. And I'll include the link if you want to go catch the replay of that Aquarius Full Moon. So we're receiving and we are the bride. So this is powerful because if this whole energy of the Christ consciousness speaks to you, the whole concept, which is basically my definition of Christ consciousness is, or what's been shown to me is just a palpable, accessible, spiritual energy that's available here in a way that it wasn't before in our earth realm, in our 3D. So there's a huge message with this Jupiter transit this year. Jupiter moved over into Aries. Now that Pisces Aries marker is where the last shift of ages happened, right near the Christ event. So Jupiter going over and retrograding over this Aries point, and then the final pass over this Aries point will be in December. So Jupiter doing that journey means that in December, what we're doing is that when Jupiter first this spring went over into Aries, it's about beginning to birth an idea of this Christ consciousness timeline and what it would be really like to live in alignment with this palpable spiritual energy available to us on a energetic level right here. And so that is when Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, and a generational planet, when Jupiter going over this Aries point and then the final Passover on December 21st is a major marker. It is an opportunity to completely land and own and vibrate and resonate in a completely new way. And it's this Christ consciousness timeline. The Christ consciousness, Rudolf Steiner explained that the story and the mythology of Yeshua coming into a body and showing us that we can transmute physical form. You can do what I can do and more. But that Christ event had an effect of infusing the etheric body, the life force of our earth, with this Christ consciousness, more palpable, accessible spiritual energy, knowledge and a wisdom that we are directly connected to source and have that available to us. So this etheric body of the Christ consciousness is now descending. We're bringing it into form. And it's this picture of like, oh, we're talking about higher frequency embodiment in our body. But our higher frequency embodiment and finding permission and finding the strength and finding the wisdom within to make these changes and to understand and come into who we are, that strength and bravery, that is building new earth through our energy field, allowing that energy to be there. And just think about this, all these supernova souls all over, sprinkled all over. And, walking through the cities and towns and with this demonstration of like, yeah. And then this is why the witches were burned. This is what I was shown in the very beginning, the energy of inquisition and persecution had to do with people coming into light body. And so as they activated into their field, they had to be eradicated, they had to be demonized, and they had to be removed, and so because it's contagious, okay? It's contagious. You embody your light body, you're showing the manual. You are the manual, you are the body, and you're showing because all of humanity has this potential. We more, because we've already experienced it and can access this memory as we're ready and, over time. But becoming this embodiment and that living, breathing example of the power and the potential of humanity. And here in this time, we found that a huge period, agenda to restrict our joining together in physical form and groups and celebration and further away than 6 feet apart. So clearly that's telling us we need to be closer than 6 feet apart, and we need to be amplifying our field, and we need to be that remedy and that medicine that's absolutely contagious, because they see you and they say, wait a minute, that doesn't fit in. Something's not like the other. And it just can defrag. If they're open and ready to see you, it can defrag their whole system. And then they're like, can't unsee it. They don't even know what happened. But now they've rearranged to be on a spiritual path. So it's intense because we've all been feeling so kind of like failures because we got so far off our path, and then we really felt we were getting there somewhere for the last 10 years, finally moving, 5 years or so, and then all hell broke loose, and it's like, oh my gosh, what do I even do now? How do I even move? And this understanding of this, that it's simply embodiment. It's not simple, but let go of all your ideas of what it is that you need to do for anybody else or this world, and do what you need to do to embody. Now that is the homework. So it's Aquarius full moon, and because we've just had this powerful activation of Uranus North Node, and this constant 2 weeks of grand fixed cross energy. And so perhaps that new moon in Virgo, a rebirth and a regeneration for supernova souls. And we can plan ahead now and take some assimilation time and just that radical self-care so that we can chart a new path of purity and enlightenment for ourselves and others. And just give yourself a couple weeks not to worry about what it's going to look like and what to do next. Be present and focus on your work as this embodiment, and then see what it looks like after you care for yourself in this radical way for a couple of weeks. So that looks really good for our Virgo new moon activation. I hope you'll consider being with us for this journey and catch that Leo activation replay if you feel called. So Venus has been opposite Pluto and in that in degrees of Cancer, bringing up these excruciating emotions of grief and failure and low self-worth and insecurities, vulnerabilities, shame, you name it. But today, Venus is moving over into the sign of Leo and joining the sun in Leo. So it's a big shift, and it's about this empowerment of the feminine. And it's going like, oh yeah, I was beaten down there, but I will rise. Because the feminine in all of us is these intuitive gifts and skills that have been hidden and buried. And we're excavating and uncovering these gifts. And yet, what good is it if we don't feel worthy of embodying them, or we're scared of them? So trusting that you have this inner guidance and wisdom in the manual, and you don't have to know what to do, but you do have to be really nice and care for yourself and give yourself plenty of space to process all this, and plenty of room in your life for zigs and zags. And moving into the Virgo energy, the sun will move into Virgo on the 23rd. And so that will be moving us into an energy of cleaning up. We've gotten some shit really stirred up here. We are facing what's keeping us stuck and how to adjust into this whole new reality and new identity of who we really are. And claiming our empowerment as we move through these potent and powerful times. You can make huge leaps and bounds right now. It might feel like you're going backwards or in circles. Just be present, keep breathing, keep loving, keep being the supernova superstar you are, and love yourself through this time, and show yourself this love by taking care of your physical body in order to support these energetic and vibrational changes. So thanks so much for being with me here, supernova souls. It's an exciting and bright future that lays ahead, and we're here together figuring this out. So thank you so much. I love you so much, and I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.